Hello, dear friends. I just wanted to clarify a little something from my earlier video, just in case maybe I said it the wrong way or it bothered anybody or, anything like that. I didn't mean it um, in that way. Sometimes I try to talk really fast because I don't want to make the video too long. And everything I say is long and drawn out. It's just out of the way I've always been. It's just, I guess, from being in the South. But, yeah, when I was speaking about comments that people might make to me sometimes, I appreciate anybody's comment and what you share. I do. I appreciate it. It encourages me, to keep sharing. And I in comment on everybody's video I watch pretty much, wanting to encourage them and tell them what I learned or what I got from it. And just happy to learn from each other, So I do that very same thing. And what I was sharing about, in case I didn't explain it too good, was that it's something the Lord showed me that was in my heart, which is kind of embarrassing and really hard to openly talk about. But I wanted to just in case anybody else might be going through that. See, a lot of you might not be going through anything like that. Lord hadn't showed you anything about your heart and pride. But he did for me, and I hated it, you know? And see, I was always, I'm just going to share this since I ain't going to rush. When I was not walking with the Lord coming up in my lifetime, I was a very insecure person. And I was always trying to please people. See, the Lord helped me to see these things about myself once I was becoming closer with Him. He was showing me things about myself that I didn't know. And because He looks at our motives and intentions behind the things we do. Like I used to work in an office for quite some time, and I was always, now this is me, all right, I want to make sure I say that, baking goods for the office, bringing them in. I was, I did a lot of good things. What somebody might from the outside say, well, she's a good person. Look at all the good things she does for other people. But the Lord showed me, Misty, some of the reasons behind why I was doing that. He showed me that I was trying to win the approval of other people. And I was trying to get acceptance. I wanted people to like me. So, see, this is something in my nature that's been there for a long time, coming up without a mom, coming up with an alcoholic father, just not getting a lot of validation or attention and things like that. Maybe that's what caused it. I don't know. It's something the Lord had to work out of me. And still from time to time, when I feel like pride is rearing its ugly head in me, I just turn to the Lord with it and say, Lord, I don't want to be puffed up or prideful. Please help me. And He's been faithful to help me. So I hope that makes sense, that I appreciate and love your comments on what you share. And please don't feel bad about that or anything. I hope I didn't say it in a way to make anybody feel bad about anything. The Lord knows your heart, and He knows my heart. He knows all of our hearts. And as we walk along with Him and our relationship becomes closer, And we began to become more familiar with his voice. I don't know if it's been for you, but for me, he shows me more and more. See, he is light, right? Light, truth, everything true. And as we move closer and closer with him, that light shines on us. His word shines into our heart in the innermost places, says dividing and looking at the thoughts and intentions even of a human heart. And so as we're walking with him and growing closer with him, the light of his presence, the light of the scripture, he will reveal to us things that he sees aren't quite right, because he corrects those he loves, he disciplines those he loves, because we're his children. He loves us, you know, and he's changing us to be more like him and everything. So, yeah, that's just something I have wrestled with, and maybe some of you haven't, and that'd be wonderful. But it was kind of, that's why I was saying it might not be for everybody, because some people have recognized the Lord has shown them that there's pride in their heart, and he's helping them. And really, that video was to help anybody that also struggles with pride. So, I hope that's a little bit more clear. I decided just to take my time and talk it out, try not to rush. But yeah, I just didn't want to make anybody feel bad or have said something in the wrong way for that. So I'll say this too, and I'm going to turn it off. You know, even when the Lord shows me something about myself that needs work done, I used to be really, really hard on myself. I'd feel like a failure if I messed up. Say if I argued back with my spouse and said, let my mouth fly. Boy, I'd feel so bad about myself after that. I feel like I'd failed the Lord, you know? And just if I found myself doing something that I felt like I was displeasing the Lord, I'd be so downcast about it. But this is some things I've learned in walking with him, that even when he shows us things that needs to be worked on, he's the one that does the work on them. All I can do, you know, is acknowledge, yeah, you're right, Lord. You're right about that. I can see how I act that way, or I do that, or this. Please forgive me, Lord. Please change this about me. You know, I don't want to be angry all the time. I don't want to be argumentative with people. I don't want to be quick to be offended and feel like I have to defend myself, you know. I don't want to be all these things. And then I would just have to wait on him to fix this in me. Only responding to whatever he shows me or tells me. Only giving him permission to every part of my heart, my mind, trusting him to finish this work he started in me. Because I can't make myself into be a good person. I can't make myself be humble. I can't make myself be kind. I can't make myself to know how to interact with people and be peaceable and but always being truthful and honest. I cannot do all these things on my own strength. He showed me that. This is something he does in us so that he gets the credit and the honor and the recognition for it. I'm just kind of sharing a lot of times very own personal journey. That if anybody might say, I've went through that or I've felt that before, that maybe something would come about that would help somebody. You know? Um, so yeah, if the Lord does show you something about yourself, like if you feel bad about yourself for something, go to the Lord about it. He does not condemn us. He does not bring condemnation to us. The enemy does. And he will accuse us in our mind, make us feel real bad about ourselves. You're a failure. You're a mess up. You're never going to be who you're supposed to be in the Lord. I've heard those things. I've wrestled with those things. But the Lord will come with gentleness, kindness, patience, all those fruits of the Spirit. Well, He is the Spirit. And so that's the way He is, all of those things. And so He has created human beings and He understands everything they do. And He is the one doing a good work in us to correct what needs to be, change what needs to be changed, and in other ways, how does the change come about? Well, circumstances would come along to where now I had practice. Like if I was struggling with lashing out at somebody, firing back at them, and the Lord had showed me, Misty, we got to work on being quick to be offended. All right, He had to help me to hold my tongue. He had, and the way He helped me is when the next time there come an argument. Well, I was aware of what the Lord wanted me to work on, right? Holding my tongue, not being so quick to defend myself, stuff like that. The circumstances come to where now I practice it and realize that it's just practice for me. It's opportunity to apply that what He has said to me or taught me. And many times I didn't hold my tongue and I fired back and I felt like I failed. But the Lord keeps saying, no, we're going to do it again. We're going to try it again. And over time, I don't know how it happened. All I know is that I can't get the credit for it. He did it because, as I'd go about practicing, and every person had come against me, or every altercation, or every anger, or every whatever, even if I failed in it, the Lord would pick me back up, dust me off, encourage me, teach me a little more, give me a little more understanding about this. And He changed what needed to be changed. And I saw myself getting a little bit better and a little bit better every time one of those arguments or something like that would come. That's just an example. Until finally you're walking along and you notice, I don't fire back. I'm not as easily offended when other people say things to me that might be kind of like an insult or anything like that. But that's just what the Lord has showed me was wrong and helped me to work on. So, and pride was one of those things He had showed me in my heart. So that's another thing I'd say is don't go too hard on yourself. Don't go too hard on yourself. I used to do that. Until the Lord showed me, look, this is not the weight of the world on your shoulders. My burden, my yoke's light. The enemy's yoke is heavy. He brings condemnation. Your own thoughts will accuse you sometimes. But my yoke is gentle and easy. He knows how to correct and discipline and teach and be there for us and support us, knowing that we're children, knowing that we're trying to do the best we can, knowing that we love Him and we want to please Him. He knows all these things, and He's very patient with us through these processes. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. See how long it got? Because I took my time. But So, yes, I do appreciate your feedback and commenting and hearing from you. I do. I really do. And you hadn't done nothing wrong by sharing that. I don't want anybody to think it. It was just something, I've struggled and wrestled with, which is pride. And how the Lord's kind of helped me with that and still helps me. So I hope that's more clear. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.